you are a patriot, and everybody who is showing up to do their job, even without getting paid, the first paychecks for many individuals that didn't go out was on Friday. You are patriots, and I agree, right? I mean, like I said, I am willing to vote for anything that gets you paid, that puts you back on the job. We just negotiated, like I said, on the Senate floor, at least a guarantee that when this is all said and done, everybody gets back pay, but that doesn't help folks that, right, are trying to pay their mortgage. So that's why my position is open up the government with no preconditions, open it up today, open it up for a month, open it up for a week. I will vote for anything that opens back up that opens up the government without having to negotiate some complicated border arrangement before we do that. There'll be plenty of time to do that after we open back up the government. But I don't know what to say other than thank you, and I'm sorry that we're in this position, and I'm trying to be as creative and as flexible as I can to get ourselves out of it. We have another piece of legislation that we have introduced. We're trying to get Republican co-sponsor for it to go after the exact problem you're talking about, to stop creditors and credit agencies from coming after federal employees with any consequences. So we've also got legislation trying to crack down on some of those short-term problems.
Government coming against us, included in that.
Yeah. No, and so give me more ideas in terms of how we can offer some wraparound protection, because we're trying to make sure that everybody's whole in this. So thank you.
Hi, Senator. Thank you very much for coming today. My name is Diane Pryor. I'm from Milford, Connecticut, and I do follow you on Twitter. And your most recent one was responding to Trump, who said that elections have consequences, and you responded, "Yeah, they do." So, it's not my question, but I thought it was interesting. My question has to do with the shutdown as well. I'm following the other person who asked. Is there a way, or any possible way, that Congress can override or get beyond McConnell? Because he seems to be...
Yes. Headlock.
Trump will fold or crack or whatever, but it seems as if McConnell is the person who is holding up everything. And what can Congress do to get past that? If any.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on this for weeks now, because as I mentioned, back in December, Mitch McConnell and every single Senate Republican voted to keep every agency of the federal government open until the end of February. And the idea was that let's not use the federal government workers as hostages, and every single Republican voted for it. And then a day later, Trump announced that he would veto that bill, and McConnell came out and said, "I've changed my position. I now agree with the president." And all of his colleagues did the same thing. And so we keep on reminding Mitch McConnell that there is this thing called the veto. That in fact the Constitution specifically put the veto override. Because the Constitution specifically has the veto override so that Congress is not subservient to the president. So that if the president goes off the rails, that Congress can correct and make sure that the country continues to operate. I will say that there are more and more Senate Republicans who are going into Mitch McConnell's office asking him to reconsider about opening back up the government or moving forward with a veto override. I think we may see some progress on this next week. And again, we've demonstrated total flexibility here. I mean, I will vote for a 1-week continuing resolution. I will vote for a continuing resolution for just certain agencies. I'll vote for full funding for agencies. I'll vote to pay people. I mean, anything that we want to do to get this ball moving. I just think that if you negotiate the complicated border thing before you open the government, we'll be stuck negotiating for another month. And so I think we're getting there, I guess, in terms of making progress with Senator McConnell.
Thank you.
Now it's going to go to
Mr. Murphy, Randall of Durban, and thank you very much for coming for the open house. I love it. I have to say I disagree with one statement you made. I believe that dog lovers give us puppies.
That's so funny.
It is 98, 99. Sorry.
I agree.
One thing as far as the budget shutdown that we were talking about, I have to say that going through TSA, I'm very happy not to be touched monitored, put through scanners, and I think that we have proof that there's really no security really offered from TSA. Is there any way we can either get rid of that? I'm happy to have them gone. I hate the inconvenience that they're giving me whenever I fly and go across to get where I want to go within the United States. If we want to put them into place, let's put them from other countries where issues seem to be coming from, rather than filling up little old ladies or 12-year-old girls.
So I appreciate your concern. Boy, I think our TSA officials are really extraordinary. Those are not easy jobs to do. And I know that's not your point. You're not coming after the individuals. You're not coming after these people individually. I just think they have tough jobs, and we tend to be full of anxiety when we're traveling, and maybe not be as nice to them as we should. And I think they do a really credible job with a tough job. But I do disagree with you that they're not necessary, in part because I do get the briefings about the threats to this country and the continued targeting of airports. And by the way, it's not just internationally, it's also domestically as well. And it is an exercise in finding a needle in the haystack. I get that, right? That 99.9% of the people who are walking through our airports have no desire to hurt anybody. But when we miss it, and when somebody does come and do something awful and terrible, it affects the whole country. And TSA is preventative as well. I mean, people aren't launching plots against the United States because they know that they'll get caught at TSA. And so if you all of a sudden ripped down TSA, you'd see a whole bunch more people who are interested in using that vehicle as a way to terrorize the United States. So I'd be happy to talk to you sort of about your individual concerns about how they may operate, but I'm not there on believing that this is a security threat that we can let go by the wayside. But I appreciate your comments.
I'm Crystal. I'm from Ansonia. My concern has to do with the social safety nets, and I know Trump keeps attacking them, but he doesn't see that there needs that people with disabilities have just to get their basic needs met. They can't otherwise pay their bills. I also want to mention a couple of things. My cost for armor went down $1.25, so that's my prescription drug for my thyroid problem. And I'm on a $2,667 spend down right now with Medicaid, so I've plainly given up trying to make my spend down amount because I know I don't have that amount of money in 6 months' time. Section 8 also doesn't seem to get enough funding. There are a lot of homeless people around the country that can't get